Hello everyone, welcome to Noble Creative Tutorials, and today I will show you how to create golden wireframe titles opener in Adobe After Effects using Stardust. So create your composition and let's get started. So after we create a composition, and as you see here in my comp, I have a background layer and Stardust here. So first, let's just disable this emitter node. We don't need that right now. And then I'm just going to add a mull node and a deform node here. So right here on this mull node, I'm going to choose primitive and then cube, and then just crank up these a little bit on X, 500 on Y and Z. So just big cube right here, and then just 4 on segment X and 2 on the Y and Z, and then just 1 on bevel. Don't need bevels anyway. So now we're just going to deform these and connect these deform node to the mull node, and let's put around 250 on noise scale and maybe 190 on position offset. So we're just creating some deformation right here, and we want to add some animation to these. So plot 5, and we want noise level to 2 and noise iterations 2 as well. So we just have some animation to that deformation right here. Very straightforward here, nothing complicated. So now I'm just going to disable these and then go back here to the emitter node, and this time we want to create the wireframe for these models to appear as wireframes here. So right now we're going to choose objects and just keep that once, zero out the speed, and right here we have objects properties. So we're going to keep that as it is for now. You can see object properties, we have edges, and so on particles here, let's just give more life to these, maybe just 10, and make sure shape is model, and then we are going to add a new mull node here and then connect that to the particle. So for this one, we just need cylinder because cylinder is what's going to represent the edge. So on the Y, just going to set that to 100, and then just 6 on the segments for X and Y, making these a little bit smaller here. So on particle node, set size to just 1. We don't want that to be really big, so you can just see what's going on. So now if we connect these model we create to the emitter, we need actually to see edges, but we need to orient these first. So I need to make sure select in here cylinder, and on mull property, let's set 90 on angle X, and on particles here we have property here, rotation properties, and we want to orient that to normal. And then on emitter, on object properties, just index inherit size. So now we can see the wireframes for these, and with the animation, let's just preview this. And as you can see here, we've got a really nice subtle animation to these deformation wireframe. So now to make it easier to control these mull, all we have to do here is just go to the mull node, and right here we have option to create a null. So just hit create null and it will see assigned automatically here. And so I'm going to do here just control 01 just to keep organizing things. You can rename that to wireframe and so on. So now if you move these, it's going to move, and it's just moving to the opposite because on emitter here we have flip Y is selected. So now wherever we move this null is just going to be into place, and we just want to place that right here for now. So probably just here, maybe we can make these a little bit bigger, just controlling from the null here. So just something like this. So probably just like that. And so all I have to do now is just create another one. So just duplicating this model and deform node here, Control D, and then we want this time to have the actual model here. So let's enable this one here and just create a new null for these. So basically this one just going to rename that 02, and we need to make sure it's automatically going to be connected to that. So for this one, just have to have different deformation properties. So probably 250 on the offset, for example, right there. And for this one, I want to add these material node just to get some different shading, not just white as you can see there. And I'm going to choose here transparent, and right here we have transparent material. So 90 on opacity and 0 on opacity from particles, and probably 70 or so on normals right there. So you can see how this looks now. You can actually play with these and see how it looks. So I'm just going to keep that as it is for now. And so for these null here, I'm just going to set these to the right and probably hit R just to rotate that 90 degree there, maybe minus 90. So you can actually just see how you want that to look, affecting it just like that. So I'm just going to place these a little bit just there, and that's it. I want to have just on the edges right there. So let's rename these Stardust Geo just so we can actually keep tracking. This is just geometry for the wireframe or whatever you want to call that. Duplicating these, and this one just going to rename that fill. I'm just going to solo these, and this time I don't need these ones here. So probably I'm just going to remove these nodes and just keep this one here. I don't need the material, and all I have to do here just create a new null there, and this is going to be the fill. So this one now just going to be connected to these one here. So the idea here now just probably change these primitive properties. So probably just 600 to these around that. So probably just like that, and right here I can scale these if I need to here. And the idea now is to make this Stardust fill as a placeholder for whatever footage you want to use later on. So I'm going to show you how you can do that. First, let's make these a little bit bigger and just move that to the left because I want placeholder to be on the left. You can position that as you want. Probably make it just 200 here, just so we can cover the side. You can put it wherever you want here. Just for example, the first slide, I want it to be right here, the text right here. So now all you have to do is just add your placeholder, which I have here, these comps here. So you can just have your placeholders. I'm just going to use this one here. Basically just have this one right into this place here. So just drag and drop these right below here, and then use these as a track mat here. And then you can see with transparency, we have that inside there. So if we just change here these deformation, for example here, maybe 500. So just going to deform that differently here, adding maybe 4 on all of them, maybe scale these a little bit down just so we can have an idea. You can see now how that looks, and basically that's what we want. I'm just going to undo that, and so now because this is now just track mat, so I want to create edge for this one here, and basically we don't want to use this method here because it's just not going to work because the wireframe is just going to be on top of the placeholder. So we need to just work around that. So I'm just going to duplicate these Stardust fill and rename these Stardust outlines here. And then for the fill, to make them links, I'm just going to copy these nodes with property links, and then on the new one just paste that. So now they are linked as you can see. So once I change here any value, just going to looks the same. So for the outlines, to make these outlines appears here, all I have to do here just add a new deform node, connect that right here, and on the type we're going for transform, and then we're just going to scale these by 100.5 on X and Y. And basically there is that. We just need to turn on visibility for this one here. As you can see, it is on top, and we need to put these outlines. Basically it's not outlines, but it's going to look like as an outline once we put these before or below this placeholder, as you can see here. So that's just a workaround. So now on the Stardust fill, if we changed here, let's say deformation, for example, for these, changing scale, just going to affecting these, let's just lower these resolutions. So now they are both linked there. So I'm just going to keep that as 250 for this one here. And so basically you can see it got also the animation, which they are both linked right there. So now we're going to have the text, and And so let's just see how it looks with the other ones here. So let's just give a quick preview here. So as you can see here, we've got a really nice subtle animation here with these placeholder. So now we need to add the title to this. I already have these titles made, which is very straightforward to create. There is presets that can help you already with After Effects to create these. Just have two animators. First one just scale opacity and blur, animating the offset, and the second one just tracking amount from 0 to 5 or so. So you can just see how these animations look really subtle and nice reveal into the title. So I'm just going to add that. Basically the same animation applied to every title and every layer here. So let's just add these right here, and I want to make these 3D, and then you can just place it where you want. So for sure, I want the title to be placed right here, and I want to add some particle animation to these as well. So what I'm going to do here, just duplicating the Stardust fill, and let's rename these Stardust title here, and I want to solo only these for now. Just delete all of these, and I'm just going to add emitter and particle node here. And for the emitter, I want these to be a grid and 600 on X and Y here, and we have right here grid and X, and we want to crank up that, but we want just 10 on speed and 100 on random there. So just like these, and I want just 1 on the Z. I don't want that on the Z. Just probably you can just look around how much amount you want on that one. And I want to change here direction to outwards here, and we're going to get something like this. And for sure, we need to do a few adjustments to the particles here. So I'm just going for 4.36, randomizing the life here as well, and particles just 1, randomizing here probably 90, and also opacity here probably 35. And so we just have some variation here, and we have here over life. So we want particles starting probably just going for preset here, and for the opacity as well. So the opacity, I'm just going to choose random one here, and then just flip that, and then just draw here, and then just make it just like that. So we have something like this, very straightforward. I want to transform these to add probably 70 on particle feathers. So just have something like this, as you can see. So just going to have fading out and fading in the beginning here, and of course I'm going to add turbulence noise or turbulence node as well here. So for the turbulence here, I can just basically randomizing these, and we want position offset as well. So probably just around 550, and scale these offset here, just randomizing these just so we can have some really nice randomizing of these particles. And of course noise scale, we want to affecting these as well. So halving the amplitude as well. So probably just 25, 6.5 on frequency here. Want some fractal animation, so probably 2, 5.2, just random values actually here. So we are getting something like this, and of course we don't want to keep it just like this. So right here on emitter, I'm going to angle X and then just rotate that 90 degrees. So just going to look like probably a line, and then just start turbulence there. So right here we have turbulence over life. We want to affecting these, something like that. Let's just affecting that here. So we have something just like these. That's look pretty cool. And so now we can just duplicating the particles and turbulence node just to create a second duplicate here. Control D, and we want to have a different particle size here. So this one probably just 2. And we want just half of these birth chance and different seeds here. Everything else is the same. And probably on particles here, going random from gradient, and I want to keep that just a grayscale there, just so we can have more variation on these particles as well. Okay, so now adding these with the title here, let's just make both of these. Let's make these in the center here. So of course we are going to add a nice lens flare to these as well, just to make the whole thing looks really interesting. And I'm going to duplicate this control fill, and this is going to be control title. So from one null, we are going to control the title. Make sure to reset these null, and we want to make that to the center of our comp. And then I'm going to add these lens flares here and make sure blending mode to add and make it 3D. And I'm going to add transform and scale this up by 200 here. And so now I can just place that where I want it, just right there. Create a second duplicate to these, changing these to screen, blending mode for this one 50, and for below one just around 80 here. So for the top one, I want to add fast box blur just to blur these 50 and make sure it's first, so it just keep these transform right there, and then add curves to these just so we can add some nice contrast to the second duplicate, something just like these. And so now we're just going to select all of these and make sure parent to these null. But for the particles here, we need to add transform node, and right here we have inherit motion, so we can just select or assign control layer to that. And right here we can just adjusting these just right there so it is into place. We can just solo that by itself with the title so we can see it is into place there. So now once we just move these right here, we can just move all of that. One more thing you need to keep in mind, if you move that to the top or below here, you just actually need to make sure on emitter you can adjust angle X to keep it just aligned, just like that. So for example, this is going to be in the middle, so I'm just going to keep these at 90 degrees so you can see that it's actually moving because there is a turbulence right there. So because I want that title to be just around here, I'm going to set that just there, and then we need actually to work on the colors to make things blend in nicely. But first, let's just preview and see how this looks like. So as you can see, these look pretty cool with the title and the particles animation here. So there's few adjustments, for example, to the title to start a little bit later, maybe 16 frames. And then we are going to stylize the color to make it looks golden. So let's just do that. So for the first lens flare here, around 10, and for these title and particles, maybe at 16. We just want to move all of these right there. And then I'm going to create a new adjustment layer and going to create shine effects to start stylizing this whole slide here. So let's just apply fractal noise to this and make it spline, and 300 on contrast, 1 on complexity, and we want to animate these evolution using times 50 right here, and we want to see these to multiply, and we want actually these to be as a screen. So now it is on top, so we can't see much right there, but then I'm going to apply CC radial fast blur here and use brightest and a 90 on the amount here, and then apply curves just to adjust the contrast here so you can see there's a nice effect going on here. So for these, let's see where there is titles there, and we want to place the center of fast radial blur right there just to give us kind of like fake volumetric lights right there. Particles as well is affected there. Now let's set these to high res so you can see more details. You can see with and without that. That's look pretty cool because it's just add that to the whole thing there. And we can actually lower here opacity if we want, so maybe 70 on this one. And I'm going to duplicate these and just rename these to color correction and just get rid of these effects here. And then I'm going to add CC toner, and for the highlights, just going for 60, 30 in the handle to get some kind of yellowish color right there. And for now, well, just going to get us a little bit there. So for this one, basically we don't need opacity, and we want that to be as normal on blending mode so we can get really nice color here. And then I'm going to apply curves just to crank up a little bit of the highlights and darken there the shadows just a touch. So just getting a nice look here. So now we're getting pretty close with the colors right there. So I'm just going to duplicate these again and retraining these fog just to create some nice fake fog using fractal noise as well. Apply fractal noise and go for dynamics, blind, and 50 on contrast, minus 50 on brightness, 1 complexity, and maybe 600 on scale. And basically here you are going to see some fractals right there, and I'm just going to set these to screen or lighten, and I'm going to add tint just to tint these a little bit with a nice color. So probably just something just like this, maybe close to bluish light, something like that. So just going to add some touch to that, and then I'm going to duplicate these. Let's rename these glow here, and then just apply glow, and just going for 90 on threshold, probably 30 and 0.5 on intensity. Just a really nice touch glow on this, and I don't need that to be on screen, just normal blending mode. And on the glow operation, probably screen right there. So as you can see here, we got some really nice look with these effects we just applied. So you can see before and after, things just nicely blending right there, which is pretty cool. So let's preview this and see how it looks like. So as you can see guys, this looks pretty cool, and now just need to add some in and out transitions so we can add more slides to this opener, so it's going to be easier to add as much as you want and then just create different looks on each slide. So here quickly I'm going to show you, just to keep this tutorial short. Right here I have this transition, so the same idea here. I have Stardust right here, and so let's just disable these cubes here, and you can see here we have the same setup. Just one of these deform the cube, but this time I didn't use cube, I used a mask, which you actually can use just to create abstract deformation of these shape or these geometry here. So having these deformation, the same idea here, nothing really complicated, but here you can see we're using these mask here and using that mask as Bezier, so you can see that. So right here we can actually affecting the path samples from here to how we want to make that. So keep that 10, and the same idea, we have a controller here to control these one here. For example, you can just move where you want that, scale up or down. So here let's just scale these so you can see actual shape there. Let's just disable these deform, and you can see it's basically looks just like the mask. It just rotate there. With deform, just add some nice deformation there. So I'm just going to undo and keep that into place. But the whole idea here is the material node, which we actually just animating here the opacity to create some really nice variation on the grayscale of this, just so we can use the luma to reveal these as a transition. So for the other ones, it's the same idea here, just duplicates and then placing on different positions, scale, and rotate that on each one here, and then just having animation here just on different timing, just so we can have that revealing. And then we just have a normal white solid just from 0 to 100, just to give us everything as white to reveal these slide that's going to show you here. So now let's just get these actually in our main comp here. So right here, let's just put it right here on top of everything right there. And so basically here for this one, I'm just going to add these as and. I want to stylize this basically using it as and. I will show you why I'm going to do that. So right here, I'm going to use find edges. It's all of these, and it's just going to find edges for these, and I'm going to set that to invert here, and I'm going to use curves and just crank out these, and I want that to set it on top. So just control on how I want that find edges there. So basically it's just going to be blending on top with everything. And for the second one, I'm not going to use these with find edges. This one actually is going to be the transitions that we want. So the blending mode is going to be stencil luma here, and let's just adjust as well here these, and just let's say with everything right there, let's just halve here the resolution and make sure there is alpha there so we can see what's going on. So now we can see we have these transition revealing that randomly as we creating that. So we're just going to have a second duplicate, and that's going to be at the end. We just want the first one around 2 seconds, and at the end we just want that less than 2 seconds there, and we want these to be silhouette luma here. So this is going to be the invert of that. So just going to transition out everything there as you can see here, and that's how we're creating this slide. So now you can just duplicate the slide and then just rearrange these placeholders. We click on to show you how you can do that. So the whole idea of these nodes is just to make it easier for you to place things around. So let's say you want this time these to be just right there, maybe rotating that maybe just 90 here or minus 90, and just place that right here, for example. And we have placeholder which we can actually place in it as well. So we have that right here, and depend on your image, so you can just play with that how you want things to look. Maybe this one needs to be a little bit bigger, for example here, just like that, just for the sake of demonstration here. And so we have the title. Let's just turn on the title, and we have title null here, and we can just place that right where we want here. So just right there, for example. And then we have these geometries here, so we can basically just place in these or keep it as it is. So we have this one, I think, which is control 2 here, so you can just place, rotate, or even just have a different deformation properties to that. So I'm just going to place that on top, for example here, and probably put these geometry on top as well here. You want that to be on top, for example. And if we just see everything together, it's just going to be another or a new slide. So I'm going to show you quickly some tips and tricks how I create these ones here. So after that, you're just going to place that on top of each other with overlays of 2 seconds or less, depending on your transition there. So just going to be like that, and you can just sync them with your audio if you have any beats to that. So the same idea for the rest here, as you can see. And so for example, this one here, just to show you quickly how you can create some things here like this one. Let's just solve this placeholder here, and you can see for this one here, basically the whole idea is adding a mirror effect to create a nice symmetry to that, which is pretty cool. And then we have another second outlines for this, which is adding some really nice depth as well. So here you can just see we combine between the wireframe setup and enabling here the cube as well, as you can see here, and playing with the material just to get some nice shading for that. As you can see here, playing with this transparent material opacity here, and adding a second deform just so we can have a different animation to these fill, and combining that with the main placeholder. You can see this is behind it with a different animation, as it's just add that complexity to the comp. As you can see here, everything else is the same. The main key here is just to keep everything organized so you can easier change the positions and then just play around with each slide to get different looks. As you can see here, for example, this is the same idea, just mirroring or playing with different looks to get some really nice slides here. So all of them using the same concept, and then you can just pre-compose everything and then just apply some really nice chromatic aberration with shift channels and add some really nice volumetry color to make things pop up and looks more interesting. So that's it, guys. Hope this tutorial was very useful for you as always, and if you have any questions, just comment and I'll do my best to be responsive. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials coming soon, and thank you for watching.